Niger possesses substantial uranium reserves, a vital resource for nuclear energy and weapons production. France, being heavily reliant on nuclear power, has maintained a significant interest in securing access to uranium from Niger for decades. France's engagement in uranium extraction from Niger is without a doubt a clear evidence of neocolonialism and economic exploitation. In the past, French corporations and the Nigerian governments did not always equitably benefit the local population. President Yoweri Museveni has been a vocal critic of what he perceives as France's detrimental policies in Africa. He has accused France of supporting dictatorial regimes, exploiting resources, and perpetuating instability for its own gains. Museveni has highlighted historical instances of French intervention leading to chaos in African nations. He contends that such policies hinder African development and sovereignty. In this video, President Museveni speaks on Niger and reveals the agenda behind African resources. Listen to what he said.
Uranium, etc. We've got a lot of uranium here. You have heard of the quarrels going on in Niger. There is a crisis now in an African country known as Niger. I think some of our friends from West Africa know it better, Togo and Cameroon, they know it better. You have heard of the quarrels going on in Niger, in West Africa, about uranium being taken to Europe. That's how I came to know recently. When this crisis started, we started getting information that apparently Niger is exporting a lot of uranium to Europe and to France for them to use in their nuclear power stations to generate electricity for themselves. So this morning I took interest. I said, by the way, what is the electricity supply in Niger? Before you sell uranium to the other person, how about you? What's happening to you? Now I was told there is a measurement they call kilowatt hour per capita. Kilowatt hour per capita. Apparently, the kilowatt hour per capita of electricity in Niger is 51. 51. Every person in Niger is using 51 kilowatt hour per capita. The GDP of Niger is US $613. Now, here in Uganda, our kilowatt hour per capita was very low, was like this some years ago. Was as low as this one of Niger. But now it's about 300. Still very low. But that's where it is. Then how about the United States? What is the kilowatt hour per capita of the United States? 12,000. And there is a country called Iceland. It has got a lot of electricity. Of course, they have got a small population, but it is 54,000. Now, Uganda has got a lot of uranium. Some years ago, a Western company came and proposed to mine the uranium. They came here, said they want to mine the uranium. I asked them, mine it and take it where? They said, export it. That was their answer. I asked them, export it for what purposes? They told me, for the purposes of generating nuclear energy, for electricity, and other uses such as medicine, vector control, etc. I then asked them, have you heard a rumor that there are some human beings here in Uganda who need electricity, who need nuclear medicine. It's not confirmed that they are there, but could it be a rumor that there are some human beings here? Why don't you propose to build that capacity here for the benefit of these human beings who live in Uganda? And maybe we can put aside some quantity of uranium for supporting the economies of our friends in the West. After that, after you have addressed my issue, I can also share with you so that you also go and solve yours. But to tell me that you solve my problems and forget yours, I cannot accept that. They never came back.
The dynamics surrounding France's involvement in Niger's uranium industry illuminate complex interplays between economic interests, post-colonial relationships, and environmental considerations. Western selfishness in Africa's business and mining sectors stem from historical and contemporary imbalances. Exploitative practices, colonial legacies, and resource extraction have prioritized profit over local well-being. There have been instances where multinational corporations prioritize gains, often disregarding environmental and social consequences. While not representative of all Western actors, this perception underscores the need for responsible business conduct and equitable partnerships. Niger has the potential to assert its sovereignty over its uranium resources and develop its mining industry in a more equitable and sustainable manner. To combat exploitation by foreign entities, particularly France, Niger could implement several strategies. Niger could renegotiate mining contracts with foreign corporations to ensure fair terms that prioritize local benefits and environmental protection. Instead of solely exporting raw uranium, Niger could invest in building its domestic processing capabilities. This would not only create more job opportunities but also increase the value of its uranium exports, boosting revenue. Prioritizing education and skill development would create a qualified local workforce for the mining sector. By enhancing the technical expertise of its citizens, Niger can decrease dependency on foreign expertise and foster economic empowerment. Implementing strict environmental regulations and monitoring mechanisms would ensure responsible mining practices. Niger should not rely solely on uranium mining for economic growth. By diversifying its economy through investments in other sectors like agriculture, renewable energy, and tourism, the nation can reduce its vulnerability to fluctuations in uranium prices. Instead of just relying on one foreign market, Niger could explore partnerships with multiple countries for uranium trade. This would increase its bargaining power and reduce dependency on any single nation. Investing in infrastructure such as transportation and energy would make mining operations more efficient and attract further foreign investment. Involving local communities in decision-making and revenue-sharing mechanisms would ensure that the benefits of mining reach those directly impacted. By adopting a comprehensive and strategic approach that takes into account economic, social, and environmental considerations, Niger can assert control over its uranium resources and promote sustainable development in its mining industry. This would not only safeguard the nation's interests but also set a precedent for responsible resource management globally.